Are you ready to take bold action and live a life of brilliance? Welcome to the Bold and Brilliant podcast, where women leaders share inspiring stories about daring decisions that shape their businesses, their lives, and their careers. Today, I'm with the fabulous and amazing SuperKate Slepichka. SuperKate is a world-renowned hugger, somatic life coach, and former do-it-all, I'll sleep later, who spent years telling herself she was fine until it was impossible to pretend anymore. She now helps ambitious, overwhelmed women make the small shifts to find their quiet space inside of the noise so they feel better and enjoy life again. She's also the host of Connecting with SuperKate, a weekly podcast for the I'm fine woman who are exhausted from holding it all together, but who still believe it can be better. As we talk, you'll hear Kate share her journey of entrepreneurship, including one bold decision that created her path of what was next. Her story of resilience, risk-taking, and transformation will inspire, encourage, and support your personal and professional growth. Please join me in welcoming SuperKate to the Bold and Brilliant podcast. All right, SuperKate, I am so excited that our day has come for us to have this great chat. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
It's my pleasure. I'm so excited. Okay. So we've talked a little bit beforehand. Obviously, we've met before, but I am really excited for people to get to know you a little bit better. I know that you're launching into the world of podcasting has been in the last year or so. So we're going to help you meet some more people and some more people to meet you, which I'm very stoked about because I think you're super cool and I want more people to know you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
I look forward to meeting all the people too. Yeah.
All the people. Let's meet all the people. Okay. So let's start here though, because, I know a little bit about what you do, how you work, how you show up for people, but I want them to hear it from you because it's going to be so much clearer. And let's go back a little bit. Like start with a little origin story. How did you become SuperKate?
Oh, goodness. Okay. The short version is that freshman year of college, I was on spring break with my best friend who had 12 nicknames, despite having a really big regular name. Nobody really ever broke it down except for Kate, which was fine because that's really what my parents wanted to call me. But nobody ever gave me nicknames. So on the way back from spring break, I said, I want a nickname. And she said, what genre? And I said, let's go with superhero. And an hour later, I can't think of anything besides SuperKate, which I thought that's pretty cool. And I can't wait to introduce myself as this, which I immediately started doing. And then subsequently had felt I had to live up to the name in more ways than one, and have really only one time in my life felt I was not SuperKate and did not refused to be called that, refused to be even introduce myself as that, but came back and then recently had a sort of is that who I am? And that kind of goes along with my whole journey of nervous system regulation and healing and everything. So yeah,
I love that. Well, I think we've all experienced a little bit of that identity roller coaster and feeling like, the imposter syndrome things and all of that. So, okay. So in good superhero fashion, let's go back to your origin story. Tell us a little bit about how you became this amazing woman that you are today.
My parents were amazing. I can't incredible. Always believed in me and supported me going into the arts, which I spent a large part of my career in: television, theater, music, and just sort of embodying everything that I felt was natural to me, whether that was, all my tattoos, the clothes I chose to wear, all of the piercings I've had, and, big hair, short hair, whatever it's been. But just really going after things. And when the entertainment world had sort of wrung me out, which it does for a lot of people. It is an incredible field to be in. I don't regret a single moment in it, and I miss it at times. Um,
Tell us a little bit
it
about what you were doing there that
oh
led you to that feeling.
yeah.
Like, what kind of work were
Well,
you doing?
at the time, I was sort of like executive assistant slash production manager
Mm-hmm.
slash music manager and tour manager.
Okay.
And I was doing tour management for a couple people on top of all of the stuff that I was doing for sort of my one main artist. And I was working 90 hours a week. I had no boundaries to speak of. The word probably existed back then, but it didn't come across my world.
Yeah.
You just did what you had to do to get it done, which is a wonderful, amazing thing about the arts. You kind of just, it's never
Make it
funded
happen.
enough, right? So you have to make it happen.
Yeah.
When it comes at the cost of your sleep and your sanity, that's when you need to sort of take a look at everything. And
Yeah.
I was really lost. I didn't think I would lose myself in that job, but I was lost. I was complaining a lot. I just I constantly was stepping outside saying, is this really what you thought your life was going to be like? Like,
Mm.
yes, there's so many things that you love about the access you have, the people you get to work with, the thing, like some of these crazy things that we get to pull off. And what you never see your friends. And when you do, you're mostly complaining. You don't actually have any energy to go out and do other things in your
Mm-hmm.
life. Like you're living in New York and you don't go to see shows very often if you had time. So, is this really what you want? Is
Mm-hmm.
this all of this resentment really what your life is supposed to be like? And sort of at that same time, like I was trying to figure out how to move back to Lexington, Kentucky, which has been a very transitional place for me. It was the third time I was going to move there. And the job and me decided we were going separate ways, which was really, it was great. I mean, it was also that grief that you carry because
Yeah.
there was so much of my identity that had been tied up in that for so long. Um, but I went back and I decided I need something that I need to be moving again. And the women that I have danced with in my lifetime, most of them are in Lexington. So I started getting back into dancing. And even though it was still hard to show up for friends because even I was so burnt out and my resentment was so high that it was hard to take apart that they were good people and I wanted to spend time with them. They weren't what was causing all of
Right.
this burnout for me.
Yeah.
And so finally, after like avoiding texts and doing everything, I got enough sleep. I thought I'd moved away from the burnout and I jumped into Pilates and personal training. And it was amazing because I was moving my body again. I was helping people. There was really what I thought no drama at the time. And I was helping people get in touch with feelings and everything that they hadn't really accessed because they hadn't moved in that way before.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but that just spiraled into another form of burnout um, and overwhelm because I was moving into my own business. And then we
Yeah.
have a pandemic and not having had a business before, I was going through all the things that we do as entrepreneurs, which is like second guess ourselves and spin out on different classes and all the things we have to learn. And finally, I just was like, what am I doing? Why is this so hard? And finally stepped back one Christmas really and just stopped. I stopped
Yeah.
doing everything. And it was great timing. It was Christmas, but it's still, I felt like I was letting people down because I wasn't working and I
Right.
wasn't figuring out something new to teach and I wasn't, you know, um,
Yeah. You went from one burnout situation to a different burnout situation
yeah,
without realizing because they were so different from each other, but
exactly.
your process internally was still the same. Push,
Yeah,
push, push, push,
absolutely.
push.
Yeah. And there's so many of us out there. I mean, I've heard it commonly referred to as high functioning burnout because you're
Yeah.
just, yeah, you think
You're
I
in
haven't,
burnout, but you don't stop because you don't
right,
realize that that's what it requires, or you don't know how, for sure.
right. And you haven't actually like collapsed,
Right.
right?
What
So
do you
it's
mean I'm
not
burnout?
that
I'm
bad.
fine.
Yeah. Just I'll just get sleep over the weekend. I didn't do the thing next week. And it just keeps getting pushed.
Mhm.
And that the negative thoughts that a lot of us have that push that narrative of, if I'm not doing this, then I am not worthy, or I will never know enough and I won't find the clients, or I mean, I could go down a whole rabbit hole on those.
Yeah.
You know those thoughts. I'm sure
Well,
your
let me ask
listeners know
you.
those thoughts.
Yeah, we do. And so let me ask you. So, and you can use either, your story because clearly you've lived it, but maybe it's more like people that you're working with.
Yeah.
That realization that you're doing it to yourself and you're the only person that can get you out of this feeling, like that's the aha. And then all of a sudden the people around you don't understand what's going on because they're still in it, or really it's more about the identity shift, right?
Yeah.
Whether they're in it or not in it, you're changing because you finally realized that you're the problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? I'm the problem,
Yeah.
it's me, right?
Yeah.
So what was that like? Either what was that like for you, or like how are you helping women to recognize that they're their own problem and that the only solution is already inside them?
Well, across the board, it's really been through creating space
Mm.
in their life somehow.
Mhm.
And I'm not like, I work with women who don't want to slow down, and I'm not advocating for slowing down. Yes, you could say this is, six one way, half, whatever, like but understanding how to create space, whether it is while you're eating a meal and not
Mm.
having your computer in front of you, or what I have been really enjoying recently is driving without anything on.
Mm. Mhm.
There's no music, there's no podcasts, and super
It's an
creative. Like,
interesting experience, isn't it?
yeah, it was so hard to do. And I mean, okay, I live in a small town, so most of the time, maybe a 10-minute drive. But
Yeah, same around here.
this, yeah, this past week, I have driven to the neighboring larger town 7 times and I still have a few more to go. So it's 45 minutes away, and you get in that, oh, I have to listen to something. I have to know something. Well, maybe music is better. And I love working emotional like release out with music. But sometimes it's really just sitting with whatever that feeling is. And why am I so anxious in this moment
Be
if I'm
quiet.
on, yeah, and allowing my body to feel anxious because we keep running away from everything. So
Mm.
it's just finding these small moments, and one, knowing that you're okay on the other side of it, that it is going to probably feel pretty terrible in the 5 minutes or whatever you're
Mhm.
allowing yourself to be in it, but there is a space on the other side that you may not crave a 45-minute quiet ride like I have recently, but you're going to start seeing that you can have that space.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, people are definitely not going to crave it if they can't even do 5,
right.
right? Like I think that's part of the journey
Yeah.
to recognize that if it's uncomfortable, maybe there's something there to learn.
Mhm.
And, you start with 5 minutes, you start with 10 minutes, you go to 20 minutes, 45 minutes feels like a really long time.
Yeah.
And honestly, I know exactly what happens. So if I go outside, below here is like my little patio, right?
Mhm.
If I go outside and sit in the sunshine, which makes me feel really great, I love the sunshine. But I don't bring my phone with me. I'm like, oh, my phone's upstairs. Okay, that's okay. I'm gonna sit here anyway
Yeah.
and just enjoy the sun. All of a sudden I get really relaxed and maybe want to take a nap. And and I know what that is, though. It's not that I'm bored. It's
Yeah.
that clearly my body needs to chill out and like dysregulate my nervous system just a little bit more.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
every time I do any kind of if I'm on a even on a Zoom and people are like, okay, well, let's take a few deep breaths, get grounded before this talk or whatever,
Mhm.
yawning immediately. Like, and I know
Yeah.
that that's, I know what that is. I know that that is me not stopping and then finally stopping. And
Yeah.
so I think that recognizing those moments and doing more of them instead of avoiding them is really changes things in your body, in your mindset, in how you work with people. Um,
Yeah.
you know, if I'm anxious, not anxious is not the word. If I'm like irritated is the word I'm
Hmm.
looking for, like by my family or whatever, you know, if I just take a few deep breaths, I'm yawning and I realize that the problem is not them. The problem is
Yeah. And I, I want your listeners, I want you, I want the world to understand that there is nothing wrong with us.
Absolutely.
The
Yeah. When I say the
systems,
problem is me, I don't
yeah,
mean I'm wrong. I just
right,
mean
yeah,
the problem is here that to
yeah,
address.
yeah, yeah, and the systems that have put us into this place. I mean, there's countless that have created the moments that we have grown up in.
Mhm.
And we have done the best that we can in each of those moments. And yes, we can choose to do differently, but beating ourselves up for not doing differently so far, it's I honor the fact that it's very hard to let go of that voice. And it gets easier when you just allow yourself to
Yeah.
have a few moments. One of my like so I have a lot of nature around me, as you do too, and I really have enjoyed just staring at, you know, whether it's deer in the yard, or we have currently have like a little groundhog that's growing up, and as terrible as they are, it's a little fuzzy one, and it's so cute to
He's so
just
cute.
sit at the window and watch it like munch on the clover outside. It's so I love that we can have these quiet moments if we let ourselves and focus not so much on not having thoughts, but give ourselves some kind of focus. So that's where the driving has been very interesting, because there's still technically something you're doing, but you don't have to add and multitask while you're doing it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wish I could remember. I was listening to a book once while I was driving and they were talking. Oh, yeah. I'm sure I could look this up, but I don't have the title off the top of my head. And it was talking about basically how multitasking is literally impossible. You cannot like it doesn't
Yeah.
exist. Even computers don't multitask. They just switch back and forth really fast. And that's how our
Yeah.
brains do too, right? So I'm driving in the car, listening to this book, driving, and they're like, you can't multitask. And I'm like, looking around me going, and then he started talking about the things that are like subconscious versus conscious and all of that.
Right.
It's like, you know, the driving kind of falls into almost a subconscious thing
Right.
unless you have to be careful or whatever. But it's interesting to remember that that I don't even remember why we were saying that, but you said something about like the consciousness of being of not adding to it. That's what it was. Don't add more tasks
Yeah.
to what you're doing and
Yeah.
allow yourself to just be in one place and do one thing. And maybe for the moment that's breathing
Yeah.
or talking to a person and being fully present instead of
Exactly.
looking for my phone and doing all these things as we're talking, which I'm
Yeah.
trying not to do.
Or um having the response ready that
Oh
you
yeah.
think they're going to want, right? Or thinking about the groceries that we need to get, because we can have
Man, why'd you
that.
say that? Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
Right. We tend to, because of everything, society, everything, conditioning, equate our productivity to our worth. And
Yep.
so if we aren't doing anything, then we are unworthy. but we get to, and it is going to be hard to turn this ship as we are currently going in the direction of, but we have the ability to rewrite stories and make the ship go in a different direction. Now, I'm not advocating that we should all just sit around and do nothing all day. I'm There's more to evolution, and we have purpose, and we have,
Yeah.
passions and everything. But we made it this hard. We made it this hard on ourselves.
And we're making it this hard today.
Exactly. So how can you give yourself a little bit of grace,
Mm-hmm.
and a little bit of breath,
Mm-hmm.
just because
Yeah.
that will bring you into the present moment faster
Yeah.
than anything. Yeah.
100%. Yeah. So I love this. Um, you're preaching to the choir here in this sense, because that's,
Yeah.
yeah, the idea that we get to, so, and don't get me wrong, when I say the problem is me, I have absolutely no negative self-talk around that. Like, that is
Awesome.
just where I am.
Yeah.
And like you said, the conditioning, the high achieving 57 years of my life,
Yeah.
right? Or maybe I should say 50 years, because those first couple years, there's nothing there. And these last couple years, things have changed. And so,
Awesome.
we're all on our journey. But
Yeah.
50 years of conditioning is a lot.
Yeah.
And so
And
to recognize that it doesn't, like, we get to decide what we do next.
yeah. And I think that we are very lucky to be in a generation that does, it may be a little bit farther away than we keep thinking it is, but that we did actually grow up without cell phones. We grew up without internet.
Right.
We didn't have to have a podcast going while we're driving the car, eating our breakfast, and making notes about something on our phone. Uh, I mean, we have arrived at this point. Yes. And what are
Mm-hmm.
we going to do with it? Is this really like the life that
Yeah.
we want to have?
I
Yeah.
think you're so right about, like, there is the evolution part of it, right? Like, yes, that's not how we grew up. Is it wrong that that's where we are? Only if it makes you feel bad. Only if it,
Right.
like, destroys you. Only if it
Hmm.
it keeps you from the things that you actually love,
Yeah.
which is, the relationships in our lives, and who we're becoming as a person, and the good that we're doing in the world, and all of those things. If we don't get to do all those things because we're so obsessed with the quadruple tasking, then that's why it's not good.
Yeah.
But
Exactly.
if we're so mission driven and so, like, passionate about doing XYZ, and you know I think what I'm trying to say is that it's also seasonal, right?
Yeah.
It may be where we are now because we're so, like, I can't stop myself, because I know it's going to change the world or change this person's life or whatever. And maybe the season of that kind of push is slowing down, and you get to make some space for yourself and make some
Yeah.
space in nature, and the little, what was it, groundhog, little groundhog guy outside, and all of those things. It all comes down to, we get to decide.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what if it is possible for you to still have the push and to still do all of the things you want to do while not filling your night with ruminating about tomorrow's to-do list or the conversation that you need to have with your partner because you got a little frustrated, and all of these little spaces that we fill
Mm-hmm.
with, whether it's our own noise, which of course is contributed to by society, but like all of the noise that we are making,
Mm-hmm.
and then all of the noise that we are consuming. I
Yeah.
think that there is a possible world where you can be the biggest high achiever and have quiet time and have like the relationships you want and the family you want. There are people out there who do that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they may have a bunch of people working for them, but they do that. They have people working for them because they understand what is required of them to get to whatever
Yeah.
the next level is. And they can only do that through having space around themselves in their head. So it is hard when you are on the lower, um, when you're sort of at the beginning stages,
Yeah.
because you may not have the funds to do that. But there are other ways of creating that space. Um, but we
Yeah.
just
I totally agree.
are so frantic to, I mean, it's great. We want to make change. We want to do the thing. It's
Mm-hmm.
fantastic. Um, yeah. How can we do it with some
Some
space?
intentionality. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Love that. I love it.
Yeah.
Well, so we're here in June of 2026 when we're recording
Yeah.
this, and it's going to be out, sometime soon. And what I want to know is like, so clearly you have this high achieving history mentality. Are you still like, you're coaching, you're helping people with like getting all of this back for themselves?
Yeah.
um Tell us like specifically, how are you working with clients? Like, describe your business so that people who are listening to this can really understand where you might fit in their lives.
Yeah. So I believe in, I mean, I'm entirely virtual because that's how it works best for me right now.
Yeah.
But I really want to connect with somebody deeply. So I do one-on-one work primarily. I still have group movement classes, which are fun, and I get people sweating and everything like that. But I do love getting into the weeds with somebody when they are really trying to navigate how they can regulate their nervous system, how they can make better decisions and have more creativity because they are finally taking care of themselves physically and mentally.
Yeah.
And so we get into the schedule, we get into the daily life, we get into who are you surrounding yourself with, and determining what is both inspiring you and what might be pulling you down a little bit. And that's okay. Because some of the things that pulled me down a few years ago do not have that power anymore. There's like, I have people in my life that I was really struggling with a few years ago, but I know where I'm at now. And because of my energetic change, the relationship with them is different. And some of them have even begun to change because of that. And it's really what an amazing gift to still have these people in my life. But we can't really do as much work on a surface level as I would love to, because that would make much faster change. But I want to get into your life and see all of the all of the noise. And then we start determining how can we get some of that out, and also how that feels when that happens, because ignoring the body through this process is, we can't do that. Your
Yeah.
body is very important, and it is sending you signals and has been for a long time, and you have been overriding them.
Yep.
I overrid them. You, Tracie, have done that. So how do we learn to hear it again? And so
Yeah.
there's going to be some small movement work that we're going to do, some, pretty easy breath work, but it's just to get you to where you can start hearing and
Yeah.
feeling what it's trying to tell you, because that is going to make a much bigger change for you moving forward when you can hear, oh, I can feel myself getting anxious about this.
Mm-hmm.
That means X. Or, oh, my body's anxious because I've been thinking this one thing over and over again. How can I change that thought? And yeah,
Yeah. I love that. I
yeah,
had so my experience probably 10, 8, 10, I don't know, COVID, time change. 10-ish years ago, I I met someone who was like a somatic like
yeah,
coach, right? This thing's probably similar to some of the same work that you do. And I met her and I was just like, um, yeah, I don't feel anything in my body. Like I'm fully in my head all the
Yeah.
time. There's nothing below the neck going on that I recognize on a regular basis. And I realized that and would notice it over time. Yeah, no, I'm still like all up here. It's all cerebral. I'm not like paying attention. And then of course, menopause happens, COVID happens, and all of these things happen that you can't ignore things in your body, but you still don't
Yeah.
really relate them.
Right.
And so I find that this is such a uh, common thing for high achieving women, for those of us who are Gen X, that, you know, we didn't grow up paying attention to our bodies. We were all like drive all the time. And yeah, I firmly believe that the work that you're doing really can change everyone,
Thank you.
because the noticing of, like, I remember very vividly the first time I had my first anxiety attack, panic attack. And I don't have them very often, but I remember just being like, what is happening to me right now? You know,
Yeah.
I was out of town and something with my kids. I was very like freaked out. And I just remember that going, oh, like my body is here with me. And this is like, A, it's not fun, but
Yeah.
B, this is a big message. And it really was the beginning of kind of recognizing that, oh, I'm not all, people used to tell me I was all head and no heart, but really I was just all head and no body.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and recognizing that was kind of the turning point of, oh, this is what people have been talking about. This is something that I should maybe not should, but that paying attention to, you know, could be beneficial to me in the long run. In the short run, it sucks. It's not beneficial at all in the short run, but in
Yeah.
the long run, this could really, you know, be remarkable.
Yeah.
So I'm really glad that you are doing this work with people, because the opportunity to have that shift is, it's so important. I feel like everyone needs to have that chance to recognize how they can change it for themselves.
Yeah. Well, I want to add that I've been like a mover. I was a sports person from a very young age. Um, Loved sports, always did sports. And then um, I started dancing when I was 23, and that got me into a whole new part of my body.
Mm-hmm.
And there are a lot of moments in my life where my intuition has absolutely guided me. And so you can argue, well, SuperKate, if you have intuition, then that means you were in touch with your body. I no, no, there were plenty of things that I wasn't listening to. So I know plenty of women out there who go to workouts 3 times a week. They are not listening to the nervous system.
Yeah.
And that is a different set of like physical connection skill that, I mean, we're kept from at a young age because it helps us stay safe. It
Right.
drives us to be around the people who are supposedly going to help us grow up and, live long lives and
Mm-hmm.
all of these things. So I say that to like, yes, I've become a much more head-driven person in the last 6 or 7 years. And I have always been a mover. And so to think that just because you're a head person, then you don't have a body connection, or just because you're a mover and you
Right.
work out, right? It doesn't matter. It's a different skill.
Yeah.
And and it
Yeah. And when I said I was all head, no body, I didn't mean that I didn't, because I also danced, you know, all of that.
Mhm.
That's a whole different idea. And so people who go to the gym and you do all these things and you're in tune with the physicality of your body, but
Yeah.
that's not what I was talking about. For sure, I'm
Yeah.
talking about the idea that we're just thinking our way through things
Yeah.
instead of being like head
Yep.
to toe, inside and out, all about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, love it. I love it.
What a fun thing to learn.
Yeah, it's been amazing. Yeah, highly recommend to everyone, right? Um, Okay, my friend. Well, we're about at our time,
Yeah.
and I want to give you an opportunity to kind of, we talked through some things, and I always try, although it didn't happen, try to say, what was the bold decision that you made that changed everything. But we did talk about it. We talked about you deciding to go from one burnout to the other burnout to not burning out anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so do you have any like final thoughts like that you want people to really know based on that decision that you made?
You won't. Okay. Aside from nothing's wrong with you, you are worthy, whether you are active or not. You are an amazing moment in this universe, in that we are experiencing together. And even when it gets tough, just being able to sit and exist, that is all you need to do. You don't have to solve anything. You don't have to jump into 50 more things. You can sit and just be in the moment, and that is absolutely enough. It is, I don't want to project toxic positivity. It's more about just being in our presence, because we only have this one short little life, this one that it is great to watch the rainfall. It is great to watch the little groundhog. It is great to just be able to sit or to stare at the wall. This can be enough. And I totally understand it's going to be difficult, and you got this, and I believe in you.
Love that. I love that. I was imagining someone out there saying, I don't understand how I can do that. Right.
Yeah.
But that's why we need support and why we need people, amazing people in our lives to keep reminding you, or podcasts to like play that over and over. Listen to Kate's super beautiful, SuperKate voice. And like, I was thinking, like, do you do hypnosis? Because like your voice is, we've talked about this already. Your voice is so great. Like the idea of hearing you say that over and over, like that's the kind of thing that ends up resonating right here.
Yeah.
And really believing, like helping us to believe that it's true.
Yeah.
Because we need to hear it more than once to know that it's true. Coincidentally, I have up here on my window, I wrote many years ago, I am worthy of the dreams I dream.
Awesome.
And then the second part is the world is waiting for me to show up today.
Yeah.
Right. So it goes right in line with what we've been talking about. And clearly this is why we are here talking today, because 10 years ago, I wrote that on my window, and here we are, and you're saying the same exact thing today.
Look at us.
I know. Yay.
Amazing.
I'm so glad. I love this. All right, my darling. I'm so thrilled. Thank you so much for being with us today. I have your bio and your links and all of that stuff. We're going to put it all in the show notes. And I can't wait to get this episode out to the world. So thank you again for your time and your beauty and your voice and your message. I can't wait to get it to the world. Thank you again.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We'll talk soon. Thank you for listening to the Bold and Brilliant podcast. I'm your host, Tracie Root, and I want to invite you to check out the show notes, find out where you can connect with our guests, find out more about what I and the Gather community have to offer you, and be sure to subscribe to this podcast on your favorite platform. Thanks so much.